In 2016, more than 64,000 people were killed as a result of drug overdose. That's more than the entire death toll of the Vietnam War. And that's just in 2016. Not only are the number of overdoses skyrocketing, but because drug addiction is often syndemic, the number of individuals acquiring hepatitis C and endocarditis is also escalating at alarming rates. Why then have we not done a better job of treating this epidemic? Many people still blame the addicts. People make a choice to do drugs, they say. That's baloney. The argument that we shouldn't treat the heroin and opioid epidemic as an epidemic is not only illogical but immoral. Many people say that it's not worth their time or that people who begin using opioids and heroin deserve it because they made a choice. However, the government has spent $167 million fighting obesity, something that, if taken by the same standards, should not be treated because it all starts with a choice. The opioid epidemic is a direct result of Big Pharma's influence. In the 1990s, pharmaceutical companies like Purdue Pharma told doctors that opioids were a less addicting way to treat pain. This information was so wrong that Purdue Pharma was forced to pay more than $500 million due to their false claims. In 2012 alone, 250 million prescriptions for opioids were given in the United States. That's about enough prescriptions for every adult in the country. The stigma surrounding the opioid epidemic is one of the largest contributing factors to its deadliness. According to a 2016 report by the Surgeon General, about 10% of people in the U.S. with a drug use disorder get specialty treatment, a terrifying statistic indicating we need to do something to change. Most recently, the Senate has suggested a bill imposing a mandatory minimum sentence on people trafficking or distributing fentanyl, a synthetic opioid known for its high potency. The theory behind doing this is that it would drive up the price of the drugs as the cost of dealing them becomes greater, and this would in turn make it more difficult for addicts to get their fix. The problem with this, though, is that it hasn't worked in the past, and no studies show it will work now. The implementation of needle exchanges has proven to lower the rates of infection among users. This lowers hep C and endocarditis prevalence, as dirty needles can be substituted for clean ones, decreasing risks of infection. Although these exchanges have been shown to help, even in U.S. cities like Charleston, they are still stigmatized to the extent that in communities in the throes of drug addiction, they opt out of actualizing them or closing them down. Needle exchanges are not enough, though, even if they were fully implemented. Underlying causes of disease must be treated, and the people must have pathways to this treatment. Not only that, but we need to address the other physical implications of opioid addiction. Dirty needles are not the only problem. Some drug users in Charleston use toilet water to mix their drugs, according to clinical staffs. As they would with any other public health crisis, the United States needs to invest more time and money into the treatment plan of how to end the opioid epidemic in the United States. It is not incarceration that will end this problem. It is a facilitation of treatment plans that actually help the addict and attack all facets of the disease rather than just the physical symptoms. It is for these reasons that the United States should implement safe injection clinics. These are clinics that medical professionals be working at where addicts can come and use their drugs. It is a safe place where they're able to test their drug of choice to make sure that they're not accidentally ingesting fentanyl or horse tranquilizers. It is a place where they can receive clean needles and throw out dirty needles to prevent infection. It is a place that connects these addicts with treatment plans and pathways to treatment that otherwise would not be available to them on the side of the street. It will also be a place where they can go, and should they unfortunately have an overdose, there are trained professionals there with Narcan and Suboxone that are able to reverse the effects and ultimately save their lives. We need to fight the stigma of addiction and end all of the preconceived notions about it. Over 20 million people in the United States suffer from addiction, and it is no longer something that we can just turn our heads at. With this growing epidemic, it is our job and our duty as Americans to end it and do everything we can to save the individuals' lives who are imperiled by it. The best thing that we can do as the upcoming generation of voters is to educate ourselves and our peers about the dangers of drugs as well as the dangers of the opioid epidemic that is continuing to grow in the United States. We need to consider the legislative actions that would lead to the destigmatization and legalization of safe injection clinics as well as needle exchange sites, which are the only ways and the only defenses we have against the opioid epidemic.